Hello and welcome to the Amateur Hour, a podcast from Amateur Mastermind Productions. Every other week, 4, sometimes 3 young creatives get together to talk about whatever it is young creatives talk about.
I always mess it up.
My name, as always, is Mike Messina, and joining me to my immediate right, we have the Bert of the group, Jojo Chang.
Hello.
What's the bird?
Yeah, I don't know what the bird is.
Well, wait.
So
you're gonna figure it out now.
Okay.
To my other immediate right is the Ernie of the group.
Oh.
Yes, Richard Chow.
Hello. What's up, everyone?
Yeah. So
makes sense. Sesame Street.
I don't know. I forget which one is which, but
I have no clue.
I don't know.
The names
Ernie
are
sounds derpy. I'm Ernie derpy.
So does Bert. I feel like Bert might sound even derpier than Ernie. But so Darren right now is out. He won't be joining us until next week, or I guess 2 weeks from now, right? For the next episode.
Yep.
Yeah. But he is recovering from a vaccine shot that he got.
Yeah.
So hopefully he's doing well.
Yeah.
He did text me though this morning about sending him notes about editing from our short film viewing. So he's at least doing well enough to worry about the edit.
Yeah. He's probably trying to get as much as he can done, being down and out.
Yeah. Is he back here? Is he in town?
I don't think
he's
so.
Probably driving back soon.
Okay.
Yeah.
Gotcha.
Tonight or I don't know. Yeah.
Hopefully he's good enough to drive.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
I think everyone just reacts very differently to the vaccine because I got my second shot yesterday.
Mm-hmm.
I thought I'd be super feverish, but I think I was just a little fatigued and my arm was sore. But otherwise, I'm good. So
don't jinx it. Where's the wood?
It's okay.
Oh.
I don't want to tap it.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, we're not supposed to tap this.
headphone users.
Bash on the table, snap it in half.
Honestly, though.
So I think last week as well, 2 weeks ago, last episode, we wanted to establish a recurring segment to get to the bottom of Joe's psychology concerning
coming back to this.
feet.
Yes.
Yeah, I think it's a recurring segment. It's going to be every week, but just for a minute each. So I have a question, and we'll do one question every episode to help get to the bottom of this. What is the worst experience you've ever had involving feet?
The worst experience?
Mm-hmm.
When her friends attack her.
Yeah, because some background, Jojo does not like feet.
Yes.
That's a big no-no.
Disclaimer.
I don't want to think about this. I don't know.
Oh.
I think super crazy happened. I just don't like the idea of them. I think probably my sister when I was younger, she probably attacked me with her foot once.
Oh my god! How do you do that? Hop on one foot and just raise one?
No, when you're laying in bed and then she comes bother you and then she's I don't know. It's too much. I can't.
I don't know. But okay.
Yeah, we're gonna be doing this segment for a while. But
honestly, though.
I'm getting slowly exposed more because Rachel. Oh my god, I hate this woman. She keeps attacking me with her foot.
Called out.
And then it's by accident sometimes. She's like, oh, I'm so sorry. I'm like, okay. And then she's like, oh, you're getting exposed. You're getting better. So I'm like, no, I'm okay.
Oh my gosh, exposure therapy.
Exposure therapy.
I feel like it definitely does help because it's not life threatening. So. Mm-hmm. Yeah.
That's true. It is a little interesting to me that you have it about a thing that you have. It's a part of your body too.
Yes.
It's not some extra thing. It's not like if you're afraid of ducks or sharks or something, because obviously you're not a duck or shark as far as I know.
I'm concerned.
Yeah, but you do have 2 feet as far as I know.
Yes, that is true. I don't know. I'm just scared. I remember last year. I'm a big food person, so then I overeat. And then they were trying to get me to be more conscious because I'm also pre-diabetic, and then they were like, okay, if you eat over this certain amount of calories or this amount of sweets per day, if you don't meet it, then we'll attack you with our feet, and it goes up. So every time I break over the calorie limit, it would be different punishments. So one would be Rachel can tap my hand or something with her foot. Another one goes up, so then someone can put their foot on my face, and then another one would just be different people, and then one of them's Jonathan's feet, and it's super nasty because he's a dancer and he plays a lot of sports. So just think about all the bacteria and all the sweat glands.
The sweat glands, she said.
Interesting.
So yes, that definitely deterred me. I was probably the best I've been on any diet ever. That's probably maybe a couple weeks, and then it was over because they went home. So I went back to my old self.
Okay. I have more questions, to be honest, but we'll save those for the next installment. Yeah. We need a catchy name for this. We need a good segment
Feet
title.
Theory.
Feet theory. Yes theory?
Oh my gosh.
It's
a bad relationship right there.
Yeah.
What's another one? 10 toes down? Joe's Toes.
No,
Joe's
no.
toes. Guys are going with that. Joe's toes.
We'll figure it out.
Joe's toes. I think Joe's toes is it.
It is
Joe's
pretty
toes.
good.
I like Joe's toes. She's like, this is terrible.
We'll workshop it.
We'll workshop. We'll think about it.
And so the conversation starter that we picked out for this week is the hate crimes rally that we were all a part of, that we all helped film and document, that happened on the 27th on our college campus. Does anyone want to recap a little bit about how that went down and what it was?
Yeah, I think really quick, let's just go through like some of our roles. I think Mike is downplaying his role, but he was basically
the lead organizer.
Yeah, he was the main facilitator.
Even one of three.
Yeah, along with our friend Nordy.
And Winnie. Yeah.
And they were, and they just absolutely killed it. And
but we had the hate crimes has been definitely very prevalent, and they decided that, they definitely want to use our platform that we have and create a rally at Binghamton University, which is where we attend school. And it featured like some guest speakers, some student speakers in the beginning, as long as faculty. And then we had like a march around the campus, and then we ended with more speakers as well. So, I think they did a really good job. So, round of applause.
Round of applause. Silent
we had
applause,
really good turnout, I would say. And then like the crowds were pretty it's pretty crazy. So
it's pretty good, yeah.
Yeah, and that's what we did like a little documentary style video that we put together from the footage we took, and then Darren was editing, and we also clipped some clips as well.
Yeah.
So we put that in, and then Mike is also like a phenomenal speaker. If you guys don't know.
Thank you. I have a podcast. Did you know?
I wonder what it is now. But really quick, Darren, Jojo, and Mike, they were all recording the whole time. So I guess we can call them the camera people, along with a couple of other documentary kind of like people throughout the rally.
And you were on stills and tech support, really.
Yeah,
too,
I was on
to help
stills,
keep the whole thing going.
Yeah, I was on sound basically. Yeah.
Yeah, it's super important because like everybody had to
hear. Yeah, I had to hear and
Was it really stressful for you, like organizing? Like, how did the process start? Like, how many weeks or months before you guys started, and like, what was some of like the big grievances?
It was many weeks before. I'm not 100% sure when, but so we are all involved in the Asian Student Union, the Asian like affinity group at our college. The three main organizers, So it was us trying to balance early on. Part of us wanted to say, let's see what the community does. Let's see where the community wants to go. We'll bring them together, but we'll let them sort of lead the charge.
Figure it out, right?
Yeah, but it's tough, especially for the Asian community, because a lot of the times, we don't have that experience planning these kinds of things and being as outspoken as some other groups. So we kind of had to decide, okay, no, we're just going to start planning this and then have faith that other people are going to come in and help us lead the charge. And that definitely happened. We had especially a core group of other individuals, like 5 to 6 other people who were really putting in work, getting the word out, talking to local media, talking to some other politicians from around New York, getting in touch with other Binghamton alumni. So they did phenomenal jobs. That's your Emma Shens, your Justin Romans, other Binghamton people. And it was several weeks of a lot of work. There were many times where instead of going home to your off-campus house, we would just stay on campus in our club's office basically all night, not basically, just all night, banging out all the logistics of it. And it's also like we've never done this on campus for like 20 years, and obviously 20 years ago it was not us planning that. I was exactly 1 year old 20 years ago. So it was a lot. It was a lot of logistics, getting people together, getting people on the same page. And on top of that, we were also drafting a list of grievances to send to the university in terms of us not really being very happy with how they dealt with hate crimes. How it took them a whole year to even address the issue. How when things happen on our campus, they say, oh yeah, some racist stuff happened on our campus, but we're not really going to tell you anything about it. We didn't like the fact that they do that. We wanted more resources from them, and we just wanted them to acknowledge the fact that it's a huge issue before a big national thing happened, because the Atlanta shootings happened, and then that's when the university said, okay, now we'll say something about it. But before that, it was just radio silence for a whole year.
That's all irresponsible, because I feel like a lot of celebrities tend to do this too. They get called out, and then like after they get exposed, then they like put out the "I'm so sorry" video, and then like all the people are saying like, oh yeah, you're only doing this because now you've been called out for it. Like, I feel like the timing is super important for things like this. So speaking out early is really important. I feel like recently there's been like a lot of like scandals like with I guess YouTubers like David Dobrik, because there's been like a lot of like sexual assault.
James Charles.
Yes, James Charles. Yeah. So definitely not the topic we're like talking about, but I would say like I think it's really important that you guys ask for these grievances, because the university tends to like keep very silent. And like when you're talking like 20 years ago, like the Vincent Chin, like we didn't have like that case specifically, but I think what's really amazing about the rally was that we had this like one walkway where you can like right between like Bardo and like
the spine is
the
what
spine,
we call
yeah.
it. Yeah.
So there was like a lot of timelines of all the hate crimes that are happening now, and like it was like really nice. Not really nice. It was nice to see the timeline because then you can see, oh, these are like real facts that are happening. It's not like we're making stuff up. Like, I think it's crazy that some people don't think that it's happening, even though it's so prevalent. And I think that's definitely an issue. So I think the grievance is super important.
Yeah, definitely.
I think part of the whole conversation too is it's the fact that it's been happening. Like, it's not just recently, like, oh, Atlanta happened. Oh, like all these old people are getting pushed down. It's like anti-Asian discrimination. Rhetoric, kind of like this internalized racism has been prevailing in the United States. Fetishization of Asian
that woman,
right? Like, it has been like, it's been a thing. It's not like it's started and ended now. It's been started since the get-go, right? And when the Asians came from overseas and like, you know, they're invading. And the Chinese Exclusion Act was 1860, I think. And I think it's really important to kind of bring up the conversation too. It's like, how could we, like, number one, how could you stay silent for so long? But then it's not even about, you know, whether or not you stay silent for a long period of time. It's whether or not you're going to eventually speak out. And I think the eventually is a long time coming. And it's important to also note, like you said, you talked about media a little bit. I feel like media tends to be very reactive. I know I'm like kind of jumping topics, but it's just so nobody's taking a proactive approach. Why can't we prevent this? No, because
okay, I'm not saying us preventing it, but I'm saying like media proactively portrayed Asian Americans in this way. Like if you see like the propaganda, propaganda from like back then, you can see like we were seen as like dirty and stuff because they like almost like relegated us to like rats and stuff like that, and then like seeing all these other like videos and like clippings from like the 1800s and like 1900s, you can definitely see like how the media painted this picture. And like it's crazy because the media is in the hands of like so many powerful people and they have the ability to shape how other people see the world, which is kind of crazy because like not like we can just go there and like put up like an ad. It like costs so much money and like they can put out whatever they want, and like I think that's insane. So I think reactive is like when something so startling happens, then we can react. But then like
I think I meant more along I completely agree with you, by the way. Like definitely they proactively you know, discriminated against us. I mean, you can see it from like the comics from back in the newspaper days. The slanted eyes, like they literally drew characters like this, and this is like such an offensive thing. They're like drew it like that. Literally was their eyes just like lines, and then they had the hair and the buck teeth, and that was literally how Asians were portrayed. And then they just categorized all Asians as Chinese, which is also another big issue. And the umbrella of Asian is just so large; it's like half the world's population, literally. Even within just two countries, China and India is already basically half the world's population. And then on the side though, like what I meant more is like proactive approach to stopping this type of discrimination, and they did not do that. And I think a lot of what the media likes to do is actually just pull out sound bites. They like to just and I'm talking about more news media, not necessarily you know, movies or like films or something. I think I more mean like documentary or like news type media outlets. They just like to sensationalize a situation, and then they're just like, white man kills 7 Asian women. But it's also important, like I'm not saying to diminish the Asian lives that were lost, but it's also there was a Hispanic person killed, I think, in that. There was a couple other people who were just kind of like unfortunately there type of thing. And they were also killed. And I think one thing I was saying before, and I finally kind of materialized it, race is the scapegoat and the excuse, but hate is the reality. And I feel like the hate is what fuels it. And all they're doing is taking race and taking like this kind of like internalized racism to just scapegoat a whole entire like half the world's population to be like the enemy in a sense, just because they look alike type of thing. Like I'm talking about like Western, at least like Western cultures. And then it's important to also recognize too, like they don't say anything until Atlanta happens, until multiple lives are lost. But even at that, all they're doing is taking sound bites, and they're sensationalizing a story, and all they're doing is showing violence. But nobody is talking about what are the next proactive steps we can take to prevent this from happening again. And I feel like the rally was so necessary for that, because we could have just sat in a pool of like, this person was pushed down, this person was burned, this person was killed, this person was gunned down, this person was stabbed, and then just like left it at that. End of story. But I think we needed that next step. What do we need? We need more counselors. We need to start speaking out. We need to start speaking up for our own community. Then we can start, really branching that out. Yeah, sorry, I just went on a little tirade right there, but there's so much that we needed to say at the rally, and I think that was the perfect starting point. And I think now people understand, like, there is a way to react to it that can be value add, not just being like, there's another person who was violently attacked. And I'm not saying that being violently attacked is a great thing, or it's like it's okay to just dismiss it. I'm just saying we can't just stop at the violent attacks. We need to bring the conversation forward, and the media doesn't like to do that. They just like to say this person was attacked and sensationalize that. I feel like
yeah, definitely. The media, it's reactive. I think by nature it's reactive. I don't know if I'm expecting the media, as in the news media, to be hosting those conversations, but definitely at least something more mainstream needs to be trying to push these things forward. And when you said starting point, in terms of what the rally was for the Binghamton community specifically, I think that really hit what we were trying to do. We're trying to kickstart something, not say we're culminating in this and then that's it. It is a jumping off point, and that. One thing that I kept saying in the whole planning process was that this is actually, even though we're staying up all night planning and killing ourselves doing this and doing that, this is the easy part, right? Yeah. Because no one's going to say, oh, I disagree with you. I think the hate crimes were great. I think it was no one's going to say that. Yeah. It doesn't matter what race you are. That's not a good look for anyone. And I don't think anyone really believes that, generally speaking. But once we move beyond this and this, wave of violence dies down, and those issues are still there, are we still going to be willing to go into those spaces and to challenge ourselves, especially when it's not, oh, this person's pointing his finger at me, when the conversation has to be, oh, I am on some level like demonizing other people and I don't even realize it. Are you going to be able to be in the room long enough and take those difficult steps to say there's something that I'm doing wrong as well? Yeah. And I'm part of the problem in a certain capacity. Some people more than others. But still, hopefully we can keep that momentum going, especially in the Asian community, because it's so tough. And to be fair, there have been many, many game changers throughout history who are Asian, fighting for either Asian causes or other minority causes. But it would also be naive to say, oh no, we've been in it just as much as everyone else. Like, we need to step it up in the modern era. Because like you're saying, back in the day, obviously, people were super racist against Asians with your exclusion acts or your, racist caricatures, things like that. You look at Breakfast at Tiffany's, that's a great example. I love that movie, but I hate those Mickey Rooney parts. That kind of sucks. He did a super hardcore yellow face. Yeah. But now it's a little harder to notice when those things happen against Asians because of model minority and all that stuff that happened post World War II. Yeah. So keeping that momentum going, to your point, yeah.
I think what you guys said during the rally too is really important, like the history, like keeping that, because once you understand the history, everything starts to make a little more sense, and then it's like, this is not the first time this is happening. And I also really like the fact that a lot of students got up to speak, like besides like you giving your like keynote speech and everything else. I think a lot of like people in the
keynote.
I'm kidding.
The keynote speaker.
They're multiple. Okay. I think it was really nice that like other students, like you went up as well and you talked about your experience. I think that's really important because it's not just about like the super like extreme sides that's been portrayed in the media, but also like the stories that like we don't talk about, right? It's like I was watching this other documentary by Eugene Liang. You saw it too, right? It's like he's one of the Try Guys, and he was talking about like the history behind everything and his experience, and it says, oh, why is it that oftentimes it's like the first time we're talking about these hate crimes? I'm like, yeah, that's like so valid, right? Like why? Like before this, I probably never talked to my mom or like my grandma about like, oh, what is happening? Like are you scared to go outside? Stuff like that. And my grandma actually told me that like she got like pushed in the summer, like by some random person. I was like, well, she told me that it was like 1 or 2 months ago. I was like, okay, wait, let me report it. And she actually it's probably 3 months ago. I was like, 3 months ago? She's like, yeah, it was warm because he was not wearing a shirt. I was like, it's April now. 3 months ago was probably like not January in New York City. Not. So I think it was probably like last year. And like, you can see like a lot of things are underreported. And like, I was like, well, why didn't you tell me about this, right? Like, so, it's like not a big deal. I'm like, what do you mean someone pushed you? That's like a pretty big deal. I was like, I'm going to call the freaking cops on them because like that's, or like at least report it to like the hate crimes. So then like we have like documentation of it. But I think it's crazy. So I think it's really important that people spoke out. I think some speeches were really, really phenomenal. I really liked yours. I really like Claire's. I like Kai's as well. Word.
Yeah. Kai's was, I was crying. Yeah. I kept looking into the side because like I don't want to keep crying, so I kept looking away. Like blinking my eyes really fast.
I also like the Professor's song. Because I think she was also really powerful.
So powerful. Especially her ending. Her ending. I don't think, like, a voice speaking out does not have to be in perfect English. I was like,
Yeah, no, that's really true. Yeah, and I feel like a lot of like the discrimination comes from like the accent, right? Which is so stupid because like this is people's second language. That's like so much more powerful than people. Like, can you imagine giving a speech? I cannot give a speech in Chinese or like, it just I don't have the vocabulary for it, right? And then she's able to like do so in a very like coherent manner. The only difference is that there's a slight accent. I'm like, what's when foreigners go to like Eastern countries and they talk like in Mandarin or something. People are like, oh my god, you're so good, right? No one. It's like the standard almost to expect people to speak in perfect English here, and I definitely feel like I like am guilty of that too. Oh yeah, like wow, like when I see someone speak in perfect English, I'm not just like I'm not shocked.
Mm-hmm.
But then like when someone else speaks in like another foreign language, I'm like wow, like you're so good in the other language. Like I get it that like America is like one of the superpowers just because of like everything after like the World War II, but like
we're not the center of
like
the universe.
yeah, we're not the center of the universe. Like we got ourselves some shit. Like who do you think we are?
Yo, honestly, like there's so many people who learn Chinese, and then when I hear it, like my immediate reaction is like, oh, like you could have accented that better. That
really
could have been said better. And I say it like I literally say it in my own head, but I'm like that's the same type of judgment that Americans love to just like push upon, like non-native individuals. And I'm like, why would I need to do that? Because I'm like he's trying. His Chinese is better than the layman's, right? Someone who has not learned the language. It's like. It's almost unfair in a sense to kind of to put that almost like that expectation because I'm like look like he knows a different language, like it's better than you, like the only language you know is English, or the only language you know is I don't know, whatever it might be, but it's like, but even that thought in my head, like as I'm saying it, I'm like, well, America's not the center, so we don't have to say it that way. We could just say it like, you know, multiple languages, you know this language, you know that language, like we don't need to make it so American centric, like wow, he knows English, but he's Chinese. Sorry, there's just one small thing. Just yesterday was Saturday, I was on campus, and then there's this Asian guy.
Isn't it just Sunday?
Oh, Sunday.
It doesn't matter. Continue your story.
Anyways, Sunday, there's this Asian guy, and I don't know if he was Chinese, if he was Korean, I don't know what he was, right? But he was walking with this person who's white, and I'm not saying that race necessarily has to play a part in it, but he turned to the person, and my friends and I are all sitting together, and we're a very multicultural group, by the way. There were quite a bit of Asians, but there was someone who's black there, there's someone who's Hispanic there, there was like, it's not even fulfilling a quota, it's just we were genuinely like a multicultural group. We were part of InVarsity Christian Fellowship. And then they walked by, and we all heard it. He like jokingly said to his friend, or whoever it might be, he was like, wow, did that Asian person just speak in perfect English? Oh.
Really?
Yeah, I was like, what? What? And then none of us said anything because we were just so in shock. We were looking at each other, and we were just like, like what just happened? You know?
Damn. I feel like you keep bringing up these stories like it always happens to you. This doesn't happen too much to me.
That was like literally the first time I've ever seen that. Like that was very shocking to me. I was like, are you not of Asian descent? Like, what just happened?
Yeah. I wonder how I would react to that kind of thing now, because I know in the past I would definitely have been turn a blind eye or whatever kind of a thing. Now I don't know.
I wish I walked up.
I feel like a part of you is like, oh, do you want to make a big deal out of this?
Yeah.
Like, is it that big of a deal? But then at the same time, it's like these things keep happening because like we're like, well, it's not such a big deal.
Yeah, I kind of wish I walked up to him. Like I regretted it after not being like
He's
standing
like,
up and just be like, hey, like what's up with that? You know, I wish I said something. I genuinely wish I did. But it's just so internalized for me to just be like, forget about it. It's terrible.
Yeah, and to your point about like reporting and documenting these things, that's really huge. And that's what we were trying to do with the rally as well, is document it. Because like we were touching on before, there was a huge hate crime that happened 20 years ago at our campus where it was a legit attack. It wasn't, someone saying something. It was people taking an Asian dude and beating him up and stomping him on the ground, things like that. And that happened 20 years ago, which isn't too far ago at all. And a lot of people just did not realize that happened. They didn't realize that a rally was hosted. They didn't realize that we occupied one of the administration buildings. And now that we have the technology, the cameras and things like that to capture it in a very visceral, real way, it's kind of partly our responsibility to do that for the future generations, and it's just a practical measure to do as well, because if you forget what happened in the past, and it's definitely going to happen in the future, and especially in a college campus context we're only there for 4 years at a clip
Yeah.
for the most part. But administration or whoever's there that is neglecting these issues are there, for their whole career. So they have that advantage of knowing the history and being able to just wait people out. So if they just draw out the process long enough, then we're gone. And then it's a fresh batch of kids who don't know anything about those issues. And that's a reset for them.
We replay on all the TVs.
Exactly. Yeah.
It's like, hello, remember last year? You thought this happened already? No, play it back.
And that's what we're trying to do. And the documentary that we did is going to be a huge part of that. Because again, there's a huge difference between reading about something in an old article and then seeing them on film and hearing their voices. And that's partly why I personally love podcasts so much and why I started podcasting, is because I thought there were people in the community where you might know their name in college, or you might know, oh, they're a part of this organization, or they do this thing for the school, but you never hear their voice. And hearing their voice is such a huge component in terms of feeling that connection between someone.
Yeah. I think media is like super powerful in that sense, because I feel like when I read something, it just takes a lot of imagination. It doesn't feel as real, like reality, like you said, but like seeing it and hearing at the same time, like it combines two senses at once, and like definitely ingrains your memory like a lot.
Like visual and audio media.
Yeah.
Because reading is also media.
Yeah.
That's true.
Yeah.
That's true.
I do sometimes think though, sometimes when words are written down, they become so much more visceral, and it's like it like depending on how it's written, obviously, like. It just impacts you in a different way. It's you're right. Like sometimes you hear the voice, and when you see the person, it just does change the game. But sometimes like when you see the words written down and just how like kind of like visceral some of the words are, it all draws out different aspects.
Yeah,
absolutely.
there's definitely pros and cons to it.
Yeah, and media itself is a double-edged sword, and social media is also a double-edged sword. Yeah.
Like our Instagram page.
By the way.
With that, I think we're going to take a quick break.
Break.
And then come
Refill
right
the
back.
popcorn.
Refill the popcorn.
Yep. All right, we'll see you guys in a bit.
So first thing I wanted to say coming back is that we did, in fact, get a refill. We got 2 refills. So if you're looking...
Double the trouble. Thank you, Rachel.
Also the one who attacks Jojo.
Apologies in advance for all the chewing that's going to be going on. ASMR. I said this before to you guys, but I love the ASMR mics that look like ears. Best thing ever. Yeah. I think everything we do, every piece of equipment should be shaped like some part of the human face or something.
Some part of the natural, also the natural.
Exactly.
World.
The lights should look like eyeballs.
Yeah.
Of course.
Yeah. Or we can get like trees.
That works too.
Max like no.
I like the eyeballs.
Oh, okay, word.
Yeah. And we were talking before about like the role of media. I feel like podcasts have definitely helped me learn how to speak and think about conversations and things like that. And that ties into the whole public speaking thing too, because we had to speak at the rally a little bit.
Yeah. Talk about public speaking. There's like a lot of people fear public speaking, and then they just can't get over it. It's like one of their worst fears. I was wondering like what your takes are, because I feel like you guys are pretty outspoken. So have you ever struggled with it, or is it something that comes naturally to you guys?
I fear nothing.
Okay.
That's not true.
All right.
Conversation ends.
All right. Mike, do you want to keep going with that?
Yeah, sure. I fear nothing is something I fear. No, we were actually, I was just talking to you, Joe, about martial arts a little bit in our like 2-minute break in between cuts here. Martial arts was a huge thing that helped me with public speaking, right? And
really?
Initially, yeah, definitely. And I wasn't a huge sports guy, so that was not a big source of confidence when I was younger. But then when I would go out of school and then go to the Taekwondo school, where I was able to kind of be good at something physical there, that's something that gave me confidence. And then from there, my instructor said, "You're pretty good and you seem to be serious about it." So they were able to train me to be an instructor. And I went down to Texas. I got certified, went through a whole training camp there.
Wow.
Yeah, and then
ironic,
started
though,
teaching.
in Texas.
What?
In
I
Texas,
didn't know they did that.
Kind of ironic.
Why they send you over to Texas?
That's just where they held a conference. I think it's like a different place every year.
I see.
But it was pretty cool. And then me going through the whole rigmarole of having to teach classes every day to little kids and to older kids and to teens and adult classes, teaching people that are older than me. That is where I really gained the knowledge and the skills in terms of presenting myself and speaking to crowds and having a rhythm to your speaking, fluctuating, being animated, and little things too. Like they really went into the nitty gritty of how to teach someone well. They kind of did it better than a lot of public education people do probably. When we're correcting kids if they kick wrong or something like that, they told us praise, correct, praise. You praise something not just because, but something that they're genuinely doing well. You're like, you kick and you kept your hands up. That's awesome for defense.
Yeah.
So you praise and you correct them. and then you praise them again when they make their correction. So
it's a praise sandwich. Yeah,
exactly.
That's what they teach us too.
Who's
that's
they?
huge.
Yeah. So I was a camp counselor for my church actually for a couple years, and one of the things that they kind of stressed during training was like, with kids, there's positive and negative reinforcement, and you kind of need a balance of both because you can't just be positive reinforcing a kid the entire time.
Right.
But we called it like, I guess the positive reinforcement sandwich, because there's like positive reinforcement, then the critique, like constructive, and then another positive reinforcement. But like like this and that.
Right.
And it was like I found it to be like very, very helpful. Like especially one of the kids I was teaching, I remember I had more of like a teacher TA role than a counselor, but I like to call myself a counselor.
The upgrade. I'm kidding.
No, basically like there was a little bit of like teaching during the summer too, because we wanted to keep them like their minds a little bit more limber, so they didn't just like take the summer pause on education completely. But one of the kids was struggling on math, and I'm not exactly a math buff. But one of the things I was like, oh, like you did well here. But like next time, like you can try like making it, easier and quicker if you think about it this way. And then I was like, no, but like it's good that you still like kept trying until you arrived at the answer. Even though it was a very inefficient kind of route. It was like a very like this, and eventually he found his way.
Yeah.
Yeah, so we called it the positive reinforcement sandwich.
Interesting. Yeah. I feel like it was probably a little easier to do it in the martial arts context because we didn't have to wait until next time you take a test to do this. We could actually say now try it where you pivot your foot more when you kick, and then they could do it right in front of you.
Automatic.
So it was I think it was easier on us in that way for that second praise. Yeah. But that was like a public speaking boot camp. 3, 4, 5 days a week for 3 45-minute classes in a row for me. So that really, really helped me. It's not the most actionable advice I can give people all the time when they ask me, like, oh, what can I do to be better? I'm like, well, get your black belt, go through certification, and then, teach 3 classes a day. And that'll be it.
I mean, I think it's super interesting that you guys, because one was like for Taekwondo and then one is for like camp counselor, but they both have like the same concepts. I feel like that's really important. I think for me, like, I also like taught when I was like younger for like younger kids, and I feel like it's really important to communicate clearly with them because
you have to.
Yeah, kids they subconsciously pick up on so many things, so you can really shape how they are. And then I think for me, one of like my biggest flaws for public speaking is that I speak really quickly. I don't know if you guys noticed.
Rap God,
exactly.
Rap Goddess.
Yes.
She did that once, by the way.
Yes.
So wait, what did you do?
Rap.
You rapped? What did you rap?
Random shit.
Wow.
Like nothing.
Like freestyle or something?
It was freestyle, but random shit.
Flowing.
It was
spoken word.
Yes, but anyways, I think I just speak a little too quickly, and I actually took this acting class my freshman year that I also recommended Darren to take. But she was really good at like, because when you're acting, like everyone like listens to you, so then also like the intonations really matter and like how you deliver things. But I think that class is like super awesome. But yeah, slowly and giving more presentations over time definitely help as well. But I think when you guys talk about like, the sandwich of like praises, like, and then you have like a little bit criticism in the middle makes sense, because I think for kids especially, like when you're told you're bad at something or like you can't do something, they see it as like, oh, that's it, because like kids don't have like that confidence that they built over time. Like we probably have more experience to build, so like once you tell them like no, a lot of people can get dejected and just like not want to do it ever again. I feel like that's important to like have that sandwich.
There's two ways they tend to swing. From my experiences, you say a certain thing and either they'll accept it and then like literally almost internalize it and make it's almost like a negative thing, or they'll rebel against it like very heavily. And then like one thing too is like there's a very specific way you ask questions and a very specific way you have to target like kind of like your words, because if you say it the wrong way, they'll pick up on that and they'll like call you out on it. They have no filter. And then like one way, if you ask a question and you phrase it incorrectly, they'll also pick up on that, and they'll almost like it's almost like not responding. So if you ask a yes or no question, or if you ask them, can we do it? The answer is always no. We can't do it. But if you say, why don't we try doing it now? Or like, let's do it now. So make it more of a commanding phrase rather than even a question. It'll help like the kids like kind of get to it. And I will say like my first public speaking experience was actually through church, in 2nd grade. And then the parents of my parents' fellowship like called me up to like say my testimony or something, and at that time I didn't really understand what it meant, but I kind of spoke upon my experiences, and that was the first time I was in front of like I want to say like 50 parents, and I was like scared like literally beyond my imagination. But, like, nervous, not like scared, like, oh, like freeze up scared, but like nervous. And I remember, literally I remember the feeling. My right leg would not stop vibrating.
Oh, no.
But I couldn't stop it. I was like, stop. And it kept going, and I was literally like just that one leg. And I kept like holding it, but it kept like jiggling.
Oh my god.
I was like, yo, calm down. But I couldn't, I obviously can't control the leg. I mean, it's a movement. But I think right after that, I had no problems. I genuinely had no problems public speaking for some reason. So kind of getting pushed into
first one's first one's always the worst. I feel like, and to your point about how to praise people and what their reactions are, especially kids. I think that's what's great about video games, and that's part of why I was so interested in video games and I wanted to be a game designer, like hardcore. Like I started to put in work to be a game designer.
Really?
Before. Yeah, and if you picture playing Mario. In the real world, it's kind of ambiguous. You can fail at things sometimes for, miscellaneous reasons outside of your control. But Mario, it's all you. And you can fail and fail and fail. No one's going to give you a handout and say, oh, you can, for some reason this level will be easier than it was the last 3 tries. No, it's you have to accomplish this thing on your own. But every time you fail, it's not berating you for it. And you're not getting penalized because you're trying something and failing. It's saying, no, you failed. Okay, you can try again. And as long as you're willing to keep on trying and trying and trying, you can get better at it. And you can, jump that pit and then get to Bowser and do whatever. But you can do it as long as you keep pushing yourself. Yeah. And that's the other thing, too, when people talk about, game addiction. Why is everyone, throwing away their lives and then just playing this thing doesn't mean anything. Sometimes it is something like that, or it is some kind of just disorder or addiction. Sometimes it's also... maybe this game is fulfilling something in their lives that modern society just can't. So my little brother used to play a lot of Minecraft.
Oh, yeah.
And for him specifically, I think part of that is because he was a very meticulous person. He talks sometimes about wanting to be an architect or something like that. And if he's just talking to people and you're very meticulous and OCD about things, people might not appreciate that. But when you're in Minecraft and you're talking to other 8 or 12-year-olds online, and then you are meticulous and dedicated and you build this huge mansion or something like that, and the other 12-year-olds are saying, oh, that's the dopest thing I've ever seen. Like, that's something you just don't get in real life. Exactly. So sometimes it is just, a game taking advantage of you. Sometimes it's giving you something that you are fundamentally missing in the rest of your life.
I love your view on video games.
I love video games.
Minecraft.
I can really feel it.
Yeah, Minecraft, in my opinion, and I'll still say it, like, I'll hop on every so often.
You can play it?
Yeah, like, randomly. I mean, like, if I have the people to play with, I'll go on. I don't mind. I think it's almost like a lot of people say, oh, it's a kid's game, Reality is, like, that game is probably... the most free-form sandbox game I've ever played. And I think what the beauty of Minecraft is, like, I remember, back when I was, like, a kid, like, played a lot as well, like, middle school, I think. Even, like, a month after, it's like, oh, I got bored of building, right? I'm like, okay, well, they have so many, like, it's so free-form that people have created now player versus player arenas. Yeah. And
like, you build games within games.
Yeah, and you build games within games with plugins within games. And so it becomes this, like, super, super free-form, all you can do type of game where there's so much like creative ability and so much creative freedom, and I think that's what draws people because it's like they want to express themselves. Where else better than a sandbox reality?
Yeah, and like you guys said, I think it's nice to build something from scratch too. Like I think I really like the idea of like turning something that's like from nothing to something, and like games give you that flexibility because in real life you need money. You need like resources, like you don't have that stuff, right? Especially as a kid, like you don't have that ability to create something out of nothing. Yeah. But like the games that you said, I can see the appeal because you're able to use the game's resources and just pay like that upfront fee. Is it free?
It used to be when it was in beta phase, I think, and then it became paid. But I mean, it's like a very small fee. It's like $25.
It's a smaller game.
Yeah, for like literally the whole open world. Yeah, and that's why Microsoft bought it because there's also an educational aspect to it. Some schools are actually using it. To kind of push
it's awesome.
No, I like the way you're saying too about like how it's like the idea of like never giving up, and like you said, like in real life you definitely get reprimanded, because like not just like you feel bad, but then like society tells you that like, oh yeah, you feel bad because sometimes when you're playing a game, I remember like I used to be really really bad. I'm still really bad at video games, but like I would just keep failing.
We'll get there, don't worry.
Yeah, but then like I feel like when people are watching you with it, you almost feel like, oh my gosh, like I'm wasting their time because they're watching me fail. And like in real life too, like you definitely compare yourself to other people too, because you're like it could be like a job or like someone made like another short film, like whatever it is, right? But then you're always constantly comparing yourself to those things. And I think it's very like not good for growth, because it's not about like what you versus some other person. It's about like you versus yourself, right? Like if you're still improving in the game, like maybe this time you jumped a little bit higher so you can like get past that pit. I feel like that's really important, and having that sandbox is like nice. So I agree. Maybe I should get into gaming. Start Twitch channel.
The only thing is like it kills me.
I don't game anymore.
Yeah, it's a time sink and it's a money sink, unfortunately. So music's kind of accessible now. Games, if you don't have the funding or the time, it can be tough. But it's also interesting to me. Other genres have also tried to do, sandbox stuff. It's not unique to games. Every artistic medium, I think, you have someone who sees something or hears, a cool piece of music and they're like, I want to do that too. And you had some hip hop CDs back in the day. I think like Ice-T or Eminem was talking about this. They would market it where they have, your whole rap CD, and then at the end, instead of just saying instrumental track, they said, oh, make your own raps. And that's how they marketed it. It's just an instrumental track, and it's you making your own thing. And same thing with the Die Hard DVD back in the day. I think the anniversary edition of it or something like that had a little feature where it was your own, editing studio. And they had the actual cut of Die Hard, the final cut, and then also all of the other alternate takes and coverage. And sometimes it was Alan Rickman saying an alternate line where he was ad-libbing. Sometimes it was just an alternate reverse shot of the same, effect of a blood splatter or something like that. And you could go in and you could kind of make it your own.
Yeah, that's really super cool. I think it's also nice that they show kind of like behind the scenes, like you're saying. Yeah. Because like people tend to see like the final product and they're like, oh my god, I can't do that because it's like so far from like where I am.
Unattainable.
Yeah, but then like that's not it, right? Because it's like there's so many versions before that that's like it's impossible. I remember like I was watching this like screenwriting thing, how they say like the first draft always like kind of sucks. It's like the editing is what makes it great, right? Because like when you go through many drafts, it's like the first one's never gonna be perfect. It's always because you edit it and refine it. That's what makes it a lot better. And then I think that's probably the same thing with like any like artistic stuff, right? It's like through revisions and like most iterations. Time, you make it better. Unless some people just hit it big, then I still feel like they have to do it every chance.
I feel like for music a lot of times especially, or I guess any artistic medium, once in a while it just hits you. Yeah. And it comes where a lot of it is already put together. But yeah, definitely editing is huge, and not judging yourself when you like that's a huge mental trick I think to get past writer's block, is giving yourself permission to say, okay, I'm gonna write something horrible right now. And then from there getting able to just get that first version out.
Exactly. And refine it. And then you can like, you can just like brain throw up and then like pick out the parts that are like not as
brain throw up.
I forgot who said this to me, but I think I'm gonna take their advice on it.
They decided just now. I'm gonna take the advice.
No, this actually reminded me of what they said. They said like the way that they I guess go about writing or go about anything is like they just if there's like a theme or something that they have to write about or that they're thinking of, they'll just word vomit on like an index card or on like a piece of paper, and then literally just like after they vomited after they just
we're making writing sound so sexy.
Yeah, I know, right?
Brains vomiting.
Every what's it called, like once they've expunged like everything, it like has to do with that topic in their head. That then they would just like pick and choose and like cross things out and then like kind of figure it out and then make an outline. So it's like an outline before an outline. And I kind of like that idea because I myself hate outlines, and that's terrible because my brain goes a million miles per hour. So I almost need to like put the brakes on myself. So sometimes I do go into the not speak too fast, but the speak too much type of realm where it's just like literally everywhere and anywhere to the point where I'm like, where did I even start from? Like I don't even know.
That's podcasts all the time. You kind of just veer off into whatever direction. And I always keep, or I try to keep, or sometimes it just happens, you keep like a mental map of the flow of conversation. And sometimes I'll be thinking, someone will say something like, oh, I can say something about that. But then it keeps branching off to another point.
And then I'm just
how far down that road exactly before you just say, let's just forget about that point.
There's so many times I've done this, to be honest, on this podcast. And I have no problems with that because I'm like, oh wait, there's this new point actually, like, because then what I might have added might have been just repetitive like to the conversation. So I was like, you know what, I actually kind of like this new topic. So
I think you'll have your own views. I don't think it'll be repetitive. It'll just be a different take.
Yeah.
I feel like that topic, the conversations in general, I think it is definitely like the timing, right? Because I had this one friend where like we're talking about something and then she brings up whatever's in her mind, but then like the conversation stops because like she brings up something that's like distantly related to it. So then you're like, wait, how does that relate? And then she says it, and then we're like, okay, and then we're like, where do we go from here? And I feel like that's also always so funny to me because it's like people think of different things, and it's like we could talk about the same core concept, but then like we all have different takes on it. And I feel like that's pretty cool to see like different unique viewpoints on it.
I feel like a lot of people that they make that their brand, like, oh, I'm so quirky and random. Or some people have the crazy brand too, where I think a lot of young guys especially, they want to be known as the crazy one. Like, oh my God, Richard, he's so crazy. He shotgunned a whole energy drink and then he rode a dog down the street or something like that.
How do I ride a dog down the street?
I don't know. I wasn't the crazy one, so I don't know.
It's Clifford. It's Clifford.
Oh,
It's a big red dog.
Shout out to Clifford. I haven't thought about Clifford in a while.
Yeah.
I just thought about, I don't know if you guys remember Tim and Moby on brainpop.com. Does Brainpop ring a bell?
Yep.
I think if I showed you
Oh
the
my
picture.
God, the robot.
The
Oh
robot.
my God, they show that in science class all the time. Damn, those are good. I used to watch that. I look forward to those because they were like the fun assignments to do.
I completely agree.
Yeah, that's the good side of the media.
Yes.
Educational.
Educational, yeah. That was, like my friend, I think it was during rally planning, my friend mentioned it to me a couple of weeks ago, and it blew my mind. That was a repressed memory.
Yeah.
That I had maybe not repressed, but forgotten. I had some traumatic experience with Tim and Moby,
Repressed.
and I just shoved it down.
Negative reinforcement. He's like, no more.
Yeah.
Damn. Yeah, I remember. He's like the orange robot.
Yeah, with the 3 like
Yeah.
buttons on his
Yeah.
chest. Yeah. He looks like the first version of Iron Man.
Oh.
Yeah.
That's where the inspiration
He
came
does.
from.
He does.
That's where it came from.
Yep.
They didn't
Yep.
credit them.
Oh my gosh! Imagine.
Fake news.
Plagiarism.
Copy-
Yo, and
Copyright.
the
Steve Ditko.
companies are watching
Marvel.
right now, and then they start suing.
They're sweating.
Yeah.
the Marvel lawyers.
Of course,
Oh my
Marvel
God.
watches our podcast. Thank you,
Definitely,
Marvel.
Definitely.
Yes, all of Marvel. All of Marvel. They're gonna see, just like in an Iron Man movie, like the ceilings of the lawyers' room is gonna, because they have rooms of lawyers where they just listen to podcasts all day. Ceiling's gonna explode, and then it's gonna be Moby.
Yeah.
Or no, Tim. Which one is the robot? The orange robot from Brainpop.
I
It's
don't
gonna
remember.
slowly
Moby's a
come down.
robot.
Moby.
His
Yeah.
eyes are gonna turn red, and he's gonna just shoot beams from his
Or
chest.
they're like the
Yeah.
Avengers are fighting. Like, stop. There's an issue.
Oh, the Brainpop robot, Tim and/or Moby, he would demolish all the Avengers. I think.
Oh,
Like they're
yeah.
worried about Ultron.
No.
It's the wrong robot.
No, actually, Moby is Ultron.
Oh.
We're saying it's Iron Man.
Oh,
No, it
that's
can be
true.
anything he wants. He
I
can
mean,
be
Iron
anything
Man
he
did
wants.
create Ultron in the film, so.
That's true. He takes all the Infinity Gems and Infinity Stones and he puts them in those ports on his chest.
Okay.
Pretty sure that's how it goes in the comics, but anyways.
Yeah.
Not ruining anything for anyone.
Spoilers.
Yeah.
Oh my God, you're right. That's crazy. If you never brought that up, I would have never thought of Tim and Moby.
I would have never talked to Moby again.
Yeah. What else am I forgetting in my childhood that's so important?
Yeah.
Cyber Chase.
Yes,
I love
I-
Cyber Chase.
Chase. All the younger people who are beyond the, I think near the 1999s. To be honest, probably forgot everything.
One more year would do it.
I don't know, VCR tapes, and I'm like, VCR tapes, and they're like, nope. And I'm like, CDs, nope. I'm like,
Yeah.
big pause. CDs didn't start happening until midway through my life. I had VCR tapes in the beginning.
Wow.
I had to use floppy disks in my high school's synthesizers.
Mm-hmm.
And it was, I'm kind of glad I got to use floppy disks.
Yeah,
One-
that's like
at
a
one
whole
point.
different
Yup.
era.
Yeah, projectors used to be those light boxes, and you put a
Oh,
clear sheet
yeah.
through the Xerox sheets,
Oh
and it
yeah,
would
yeah.
project it over into a screen. Yeah, and then
Oh
the
my
teacher would stand in the
God.
middle of the room.
Yeah.
I like when older people say, like, back in my day, it was just a chalkboard. I'm like, I know what a chalkboard is.
Yeah.
I
Yeah.
used a chalkboard before.
We still use
Yeah.
chalkboards, bro.
It was still around.
Yeah.
They're like, as least technology as possible to make it.
Yeah.
It's okay. I
Further
remember, freshman coming in my junior year, so last year, I was like, oh, add me on Facebook. They're like, Facebook?
Really?
Who uses Facebook? And I was like,
To be honest, though, I was the same way coming into college. I think just college, student organizations love Facebook because it's the best for events.
Yeah.
But
Oh my God.
Facebook's good. Facebook's
no, they said,
Yeah.
oh, everyone uses Instagram now. And I was like,
I mean,
Who
literally so
owns
lost.
Instagram, bro? Huh? You tell me.
Yeah, you tell me.
I was watching. You guys watch the social network? Social network.
Network?
Yeah, the social network.
Have you seen it?
Yeah.
The Facebook.
The
Who's
Facebook. Yeah. But it's crazy. Also, it's crazy to
Great
see
writing.
what's it called? What happened in the film versus what happened in reality. There's just a little mismatch, and it's interesting to see what the directors and writers choose to keep.
Yeah.
Because I'm just
Back to
interesting.
documenting versus
Yeah,
you know,
and I feel like a lot of
sensationalizing.
people might be
Yeah.
lazy to search up the real story, and
So
it-
believe
Yeah, that's
it.
true.
to have nuances, and they just keep it in as that. And a lot of these things that we see with Wall Street, right? Not everybody is doing that, but that's what I guess people who are not in the field see. So Interesting.
Everyone in the field sees that kind of stuff. Yeah, from Wolf of Wall Street.
Yeah.
Definitely Wolf of Wall Street. First thing that comes to mind.
Yeah.
Or like the
I remember I saw the film Selma about MLK and the marches on Selma, and there was one scene. It was it was just a biopic essentially of that chapter of his life. There was one part that seemed really out of place where MLK had an affair with some girl, and then his wife found out or his fiance found out or whoever, and then they just never address it again. And to me, that I'm pretty sure a filmmaker said, okay, we don't want to unrealistically portray MLK as this perfect human being, and this thing did happen, so we're going to put it in there. But then, you have that give and take where in the overall story it didn't add anything to it. So it felt a little out of place.
It's
but
probably
they still
exposing
kept it in.
him for like...
I actually feel like it's almost like a... Boop! Like, if you're going to address it, you might as well address it fully. And then bring it back to being like, oh, like, anyways, like, he was a good person.
Yeah, exactly. And that's the thing. Like, there wasn't even a whole lot to address, so it was a quick little boop in the story. And that was it. And honestly, that's probably the best way to do it. I think they did it.
That's true. It was probably a blip in his life, to be honest.
Yeah. But anyway, I don't know how long we've been recording for the second half, but I think we can approach the closing segment here, unless there's anything else we want to throw in.
No.
Okay, so I think we can end with our little word game. I can start us off, then we'll go down this way.
Okay.
To Joe and Richard.
Sounds good.
Popcorn.
Is.
The.
Smelliest.
And.
Stinkiest.
Foot.
In.
The.
Entire.
Universe.
That's it.
All right, there you go.
Was that foot? You said foot?
He said foot.
You said
I
foot?
did, yeah.
Yo,
I thought you would use
wipe
foot
it from her
as a modifier and say, oh, it's the worst, like, foot massager or something like that. Yeah.
Word.
But, it's okay. You didn't pick up on the obvious logic that I was using there.
It's
So
true,
that's
it's
okay.
true.
But yeah.
All right, sounds good.
We'll catch
We'll
you
see
next
you guys
time.
next time. Darren will be back with us.
Yes.
All right.
But-
Next time it'll be just Darren.
Yeah.
Just Darren.
Just him by himself talking to like ghosts.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, that'd be funny.
That would be really fun.
Like we have mics talking to him, like asking him questions. It'd be like a little interview.
Oh my gosh, we should just stand on the other side of the camera.
It's like, what do you think about this topic?
He won't know. We'll start recording the episode before this one comes out. Then that way it'll be really funny. I'm joking. All right, anyways, I'll see you guys next time.
All right, bye. Should we just tell them here? If you like this episode, please like, comment, subscribe. Follow us on our social medias at amateur_mastermind on Instagram. That's our most active platform. And also leave your comments and thoughts in the comment section below so we can hear about what you think about what we talked about today.
Yeah.
Thanks for watching and see you in 2 weeks.
Yeah.
Bye.
It's actually amateur mastermind, no underscore.
Oh, that's right. I forgot.
Yeah.
We got
fixed
hacked.
it.
We got hacked.
We got
Russia.
hacked.
Man, it's scary.
There was a comment on one of our first videos from like this Russian, it's like in Russian. Do you remember this?
I do not remember this. Maybe that's how it happened. But anyways, quick backstory. Our Instagram account.
This is never ending.
I know. It just said login from Russia, and I was like, no, not us. So I just like changed the password for all my accounts I was in charge of, which is like 5.
Yeah.
So I was like, dang it.
Oh, really? All of them?
Because I didn't know. Instagram doesn't tell you this is the account that's affected. It just says there wasn't someone who accessed your account. I was like, I have more than one account in this phone.
No.
Like, which one am I talking about?
Oh no.
Yeah, so I just thought it'd be safer. Yeah. I also have two-step factor authentication on my private
That's the
one now.
worst.
Yeah. But also necessary.
That's
Yeah,
the
very
worst.
necessary.
Yeah.
All right, anyways, catch you guys
All
next
right.
time.
Hi, thanks for tuning in to another episode of Amateur Hour, where we talk about whatever it is we talk about. Please like, comment, subscribe. We would love to hear your thoughts in the comment section below. And also follow us on our social medias. Our Instagram is Amateur Mastermind, which is the same thing for our Facebook. And our website will be amateurmastermind.com. Thanks again, and see you in 2 weeks. Bye!